everybody, and today in this video I'm answering all of your questions that you've been asking on all of my major social media channels. So now is the chance to find out a little bit more about an American who lives in Denmark. Stay tuned.
Come along as my Danish husband and our two sons show this American what it means to live a life in Denmark. My New Danish Life.
Hi there and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kelly and I'm an American who lives in a very small town here in Denmark. And if you notice around me, we're doing a little bit of remodeling in my office. So I reached out to my followers on all of my major social media networks and I asked them, do you have any questions for me that you'd like for me to answer? And boy, you did. So I have a very long list of questions that I'm going to be going through today, and hopefully your question gets answered in this video. But if not, feel free to put it down in the comments below. This is part 2 of my Q&A video. And also, if you've not yet subscribed to this video, please consider subscribing. I really would appreciate having you along as a subscriber. My goal this year is to get to 15,000 subscribers, and I really hope you guys can help me get there. Here we go. Okay, and keep in mind some of these questions now. I'm also from my TikTok, and I have a lot of followers on TikTok who are school-age children. So I'm really excited to be able to talk to some of you, and I really hope that you're all understanding what I'm saying. So thank you for all of your questions. What was your biggest culture shock in Denmark? I would say the very first one was the culture shock in the swimming pool. If you have not read that blog post, that was one of the very first things I had ever written when I moved to Denmark. I'm like, I have to tell someone somewhere about this naked lady who just kind of followed me around in this swimming pool changing room. And I had these 2 little boys with me, and I'm just like, ah, it was like a ghost or a zombie. I was like, yeah. How comfortable people are with nudity. I was so not comfortable with that, especially around my 2 little boys. Their eyes were like... But yeah, you should check out that blog post because that goes into more detail of that situation. Whew. That was probably my biggest culture shock then. Biggest culture shock now, I think I'm really used to a lot of things, but still there are things popping up every day. I just made a video. It talks about Danish after school care, and there's some culture shocks in there, so you'll have to check that out. But I have videos that are solely on culture shock, so yeah, just check out through my playlist and see there's more than I can put in this video. Do you think Danes are hospitable or not? Or do they seem reserved or held back? I guess it all depends. That's a really hard question to answer. For the most part, let's look at my neighborhood, for example, or let's look at the people in my town, right? I have some neighbors that are Danes in their 80s and they don't speak anything but Danish. And they're very welcoming to me. They invite me over, they get candy out, they ask me if I want a glass of wine, you know, they sit and talk, and they're very nice people. I wish I just knew more Danish so I could understand what they're saying. It's like I won't go over there without my husband. I'm just like, what? I don't know. It's like, no matter how much I can teach myself in a book, you go out there with this people speaking Jysk and it's just like, psh, what did they just say? Oh, really? Oh, I would have never guessed that. But they're so nice and they're so welcoming. And I would say that it's very true with a lot of older Danes, but that's my experience so far. On my street are mostly people who are my parents' age and older. There are a couple people who are our age. And yeah, they don't communicate with us at all. I think it's the kind of, okay, I realize that you're my neighbor and keep your distance, you know? And we've invited people over to our house, lots of different people, you know, like parents of our kids' friends, and, you know, because we're just trying to like create our own group of friends. I mean, my husband's from southern Denmark. We live in the Midtjylland. So he doesn't have any friends here. I don't have any friends here. And so we're trying to create our own friends. And I want Danish friends, right? I want Danish friends. But nobody has invited us to their house. Nobody. I mean, I have one like American friend, obviously, who's invited us to her house, but she doesn't count. As far as like full-fledged Danes, yeah, I have never in 5 years been invited to somebody's house. Yeah, so I guess you could say that they're not very hospitable. I mean, if you talk about my neighbors, they live across the street. You know what I mean? It's not like let's plan a dinner date. You know, it's just they see me out in my yard and say, "Hey, come over for a glass of wine." I'm like, okay. Yeah, and again, I don't know. You know, I guess it's just that people get their tight knit groups, and then that's how it is. But I think it's just not what I'm used to. I mean, I have always kind of changed my groups of friends as I've gotten older, and I have a lot of friends in the U.S. because you're just so used to always learning, getting to know new people. But I don't think that's kind of how it works in Denmark, and yeah, that's one thing that I just really don't like about Denmark as well, is that it's so difficult to actually get to know people on like a real personal level. And I don't feel like a lot of people really know me. What's best about Danish or American democracy? No, you don't. I am not talking politics on this channel. I have said that from day one. No. My answer to that question is I'm not quite sure. And I'm moving on, seriously, because I don't know, whatever. I'm not talking politics. I don't know. What do you like most about Denmark and miss most about the USA? Again, we've kind of talked about some things I like about Denmark. Yeah, I really like how like low pressure it is kind of to live here, because kind of like laid back. What do I miss most about the US? Obviously, my family and friends. It's so hard to make personal connections here, and it's so easy there, in my opinion, and also my Danish husband's opinion. It was so much easier for him to make friends in the US than it is for him to make friends in a different part of Denmark. So yeah, I would say that's what I miss the most, those personal connections. How do you cope with the depressing, gloomy weather that lasts almost all year? Well, those winters can be really tough. I know for us, it really makes a difference if we're able to travel somewhere in the winter time. Because if we're kind of stuck in this darkness from October until March, it's difficult, especially in the first couple of winters. It's like, get me out of here. You know, I feel like I'm in a lockbox. I think we went to Tenerife one year, and we went to like Arizona another year in the US, because that's like sunshine, warm weather in February. You can go swimming. We really needed that. But yeah, I mean, right now it's gloomy, right? We get a lot of patches of rain all year round, and I don't know, I really appreciate kind of how it's not so warm here sometimes. Sometimes it can be so hot in the US, and it's just not that nice to go out, but I really would like to have a nice summer with sunshine. So how do I deal with it? I don't know, I just do. I've gotten really used to the rain, to be quite honest. I mean, I wear rain clothes. I wear pants and coat and everything, and when we want to go somewhere, we always take our rain clothes, because that rain's not stopping us. So yeah, I guess I've just adjusted a little bit and just realized that this is how it is, and I just go with it. Do you think the food is better in Denmark? Most definitely not. I probably, like most people, think the food is better in like Italy, right? I guess if I'm comparing it to the United States, we have food from all over the world. You know, I can go and get Indian food from Indians. I can go get Mexican food from Mexicans. I can go get Italian food from Sicilians, you know, and it's like such really, really good food. I don't have to leave my town in the United States to get all this great stuff. When I think about American food, a lot of times, you know, people might think of like burgers and fries. To me, I think of burgers, but I think of like every possible type of burger you think of. I don't eat that kind of stuff, so I hope you can't hear my stomach because it's growling now that I'm talking about food. But we can get like fish burgers, and I don't know, it just seems like there's so much variety. But I think when I think of American food, I don't technically think of food that I can eat, you know, like pulled pork and steaks and burgers, because I'm a vegetarian. Macaroni and cheese, most definitely, I absolutely love that. There are a lot of casseroles that we have in the US. I love a casserole. In German, I think it'd be more like an Auflauf, where you put like a lot of vegetables and maybe some cheese, and then you put it in the oven and bake it. I mean, those, I swear I made casseroles all the time, but I never make them anymore. And I really need to do that because a casserole always seems to come out at a special occasion here, but I should probably make it more. So yeah, those are things that I absolutely love about American food. But yeah, I could probably think of a lot of other countries' foods that I would rather eat than Danish food because it's mostly pork. Pork and fish. And again, I don't eat a lot of fish. I eat very few. I don't eat seafood. You know, being vegetarian, it's kind of difficult. You can't really go wrong with pasta. And I also really love Middle Eastern food. So yeah, so I would say no. But don't get on me, don't get all trolly. I mean, I'm a right to my opinion, right? All the 3 Danes that live in my house, they love Danish food, so I'm an outcast. How did you learn the language? How long did it take? I would not say that I didn't know the language fully. I mean, it's still a work in progress, but from the time I started language school to the time I graduated from language school, it took me roughly a year and a half. I know that this is not normal. There were people in my program who were there for 4 years, you know. But I learned languages very quickly because I love grammar, you know. I love nouns and pronouns, and I understand that stuff so well. And a lot of times the questions that I would ask my teachers, they wouldn't even be able to answer because they didn't know those types of things. And I'm just like, but as a foreign language teacher, I'm always thinking about grammar. And I know German, so some things made it easier, but some things have also made it very difficult because, you know, I get German and Danish mixed up now. And sometimes I don't know if I'm actually speaking one or the other until later. And if I have to ask somebody, did I just say Danish word? But I mean, I can't watch Danish TV without subtitles because I don't know what they're saying. I need to kind of put more time into it. But the thing is that I'm the only person on my YouTube channel and on my blog and on my social media. And it takes a lot of time to create all this content. And I go out and I work for different companies in Denmark and I write for them, and it's all in English. So it's a lot of things that I have to do. And now that I'm done with my school, I went back to school for a marketing program. Now I need to find a job. So I don't have as much time really to focus on learning Danish. And yeah, so it would be nice if I did, but then I wouldn't have any of this other stuff done, and I wouldn't be able to make videos for you guys and write blog posts and stuff like that. So it's very difficult to juggle, right? Jeg har mange boller I luften. But yeah, I don't want anyone to base their language learning off of my experience because everybody is different, and that's fine. And if you don't learn it in a year and a half and pass, that's fine. It's this, I am not, you know, the norm that everybody has to reach to. So take it easy, you know, make sure learning is fun and you'll be fine. What's my favorite fast food restaurant? Can I say Taco Bell? We do not have Taco Bell in Denmark, as far as I know. I love Taco Bell. When we go back to the US, it's just like, get my Mexican fix, you know. I guess if I think about fast food here in Denmark, the ones we only go to McDonald's and Burger King. I mean, there aren't that many really. I really like McDonald's because they have a fish kids meal, and I love the fact that I don't have to get fries. And they also have like a veggie burger kids meal, and I'm like, that's great, you know, and get like apples and carrots, and it's kind of almost healthy. So, but I really love to get like the fish sandwiches from Burger King. So yeah, maybe that's too much information. What's your job? My job is the creator of My New Danish Life. So I do the YouTube channel, I do the blog, and with the blog, I actually write for Danish companies. So I'm doing their social media promotions, I'm writing articles about their companies. And so this is what I'm doing right now. It's kind of a part-time thing, I guess you could say, even though it takes up my whole time. Yeah, I would really love to do more work with companies. I'd love to work more, but I just finished my marketing degree. And so technically I could be out looking for a real job, as some people could say, working for somebody else. But as of right now, I'm just kind of freelancing and working for myself. But I used to be a teacher in the US for 13 years, and I was a teacher here in Denmark for 2.5. And who knows what the future will bring. So if you've got suggestions or you think that I would be good for something, let me know in the comments. Do you read Danish literature? No, I don't. I would love suggestions. I was a literature, major in college. I taught high school literature. I taught, literature to 12th grade, and absolutely love it. Poetry is my most favorite thing in the world. And so if you've got suggestions for great things they should read in Danish, the problem is that I probably would have to be sitting there with my dictionary and looking up every single word. But yeah, and it probably would take me like a couple of years to get through a book. But yeah, give me some suggestions. I'm open. I mostly read like kind of comedy mystery books. Janet Ivanovich is American, and she's my favorite author. So if you're looking for things to read, I would recommend her. She's fantastic. Do you dream in Danish or English? Most definitely English. I don't really or hardly ever speak Danish. When I was a teacher, I was a German teacher. I taught German for 16 years. And a lot of times my dreams would be in German, because I would speak German all day. But I don't think I've ever had a dream in Danish because I am not really around it as much. How is living in Denmark versus the USA? Well, I'm gonna have to direct you to my Life in Denmark or my Expat playlist because there's too much to put into this video. But yeah, I've got tons of videos that explain anything from like raising kids to going to school to culture shocks to kitchen remodel, all kinds of things. So check out my playlist and find something there. Okay, so this one was asked by one of my younger followers on TikTok. And what is the 4th of July? The 4th of July is the day that the founding fathers signed the Declaration of the Independence. So it's kind of like where we consider it the birthday of our nation. So obviously North America existed before all these people from Europe came over. But when they decided to colonize and, claim the land as their own, for a very long time, in 1776, that's when we kind of told the British government to go back to England, and they said, we're going to start to govern ourselves. And so that happened on July 4th, 1776. And that is the day that every year that we celebrate really being free from the British. Do you speak Danish? Ja, jeg kan snakke dansk, men min dansk er ikke så godt. Jeg kan snakke med forældre, som mine børns venners forældre, og min mands familie, og mine naboer, men ikke så meget. Ja, og jeg synes, at jeg har så mange ord, jeg ikke kender, og jeg håber i fremtiden, at jeg kan bedre min dansk sprog. There you go. First of all, can I say this word and do I like it? It is rødgrød med fløde. I don't know, do you think that was okay? And do I like it? Sure. It's berries with kind of like a whipped cream type of thing. Yeah, show me. Oh, when someone has a birthday, do you put flags out on the table? Well, we do here in Denmark, but not in the USA. In the USA, we don't do anything with flags when it's someone's birthday. We will usually, if it's a child, they might have like a themed birthday party. My kids here in Denmark, they always have themed birthday parties, and that's something that I have on my blog. I don't have all their parties on there, but I have a lot of their birthday parties. So if you're curious to know what I've done for my children's birthday parties in Denmark and in the USA, go over to my blog. There is a section, I think, that just says birthday parties. We've done Pokemon, we've done Superhero, Sesame Street, Thomas the Train, so many different themes. So we do stuff like that. So if you go over to my blog, you can find what it is that I would have done for a birthday party. What are some of your experiences with Danish food, favorites, dislikes, and surprises? Again, you guys eat a lot of pork. So I'm a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian for over 25 years. So I don't want to eat any of that stuff. And so my experiences have been a lot of hunger. When I first started dating my husband and going to his family for holidays and eating a lot of potatoes and eating a lot of bread. I think a lot of the vegetarian food that I found here comes from Sweden or from Germany. And it's usually from it's kind of like fake meat, right? And you can find it in the grocery store. Yeah, I do a lot of making my own food, I guess you can say, from scratch. So I wouldn't say that there's been anything that's Danish except for grønlandkål. I really do like that. I was really surprised. I'd never had anything quite like that, and I think that's delicious. So I also love risalaman for Christmas time. And then you also do this thing with the, you have to check out some of my Christmas stuff. So Christmas videos, Christmas blog posts. I talk about food in there. I also have a food video about different types of Danish food and kind of my thoughts and stuff on them. And again, you have to realize that I don't like any of the meat dishes because I'm vegetarian, but we make them here. My husband makes them. My husband and my children, they eat them. I also really think Stjerneskud, which, and that's in one of my videos, so you can get a picture and more information on that. I think that was also kind of surprising, and the smørrebrød, how everything looks very artistic, and it looks really nice. It's all well prepared and put together, and I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a surprise and something that I also like. I would say that there's a lot of I haven't had a lot of smørrebrød that was made for me as a vegetarian. It's all what I make myself. So the Stjerneskud, though, take off the shrimp and the caviar, and I think it's quite nice. When you are new in a neighborhood, how do you introduce yourself to your neighbors? That is something that is a very good question, because when we first moved into our house, there were a couple of neighbors that came by with flowers, and one is the lady who always invites me over for wine, so she's just very nice. And another, I think they're just curious, right? It's like they knew an American was moving into their neighborhood and they wanted to see. So they came over. The Danes spook easily, if I can explain it that way. You don't approach them. You kind of wait a little bit. Let them get used to you. They're like wild animals, in a way, but tame, quiet, like a deer. So I did not approach any of my neighbors. If I was out, I would wave, and just to kind of slowly get them used to me. But yeah, it's not like a lot of other countries. So if you are very outgoing and you come here and you're thinking, oh, I want to be best friends with all my neighbors, I still have neighbors that really don't want anything to do with me. I could tell. I mean, I've been here 5 years. So, and I think I'm pretty pleasant and I'm pretty bubbly most of the time. So I don't know. You could just try something and see if it works, but don't have a lot of expectations. This is my only advice for you. Traditions. Do you celebrate both Denmark and USA traditions? And what do you do when they collide, like for Christmas? We do. We celebrate Thanksgiving. We celebrate 4th of July. We celebrate Cinco de Mayo, even though we're not Mexican American. We celebrate St. Patrick's Day, we celebrate St. Hans. So we celebrate every holiday in the USA that we had and we celebrate here. Obviously it's a little different because people don't celebrate them here. We also celebrate all the Danish holidays, but yes, Christmas is different because we always have a traditional Danish Christmas Eve, but the children open their presents on Christmas Day from Santa. And I know that it's different in Denmark. They mostly do it on Christmas Eve. We don't do that. We put our stockings up and Santa comes in and he puts stuff in their stockings while they sleep, and when they wake up they have presents under the tree. So we combine and then we have a nice big American Christmas meal on Christmas Day. So for us, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are equally as important. I know that's different for Denmark, but if you want to learn more about our Christmas traditions, check out I have blog posts and I have videos about our Danish American Christmas experience. So there's so much more information there. Okay, do you miss the great nature in the United States? Yeah, it's kind of nice to be able to go to all these different places that have, there are deserts and there are like huge forests and there are big mountains and things. But if I think about it, the way, like how big the US is compared to how Europe is, I could easily go into Germany or into Norway and get some of that great nature. Denmark is a very small country. If I compare it to the US, it's about the size of one of our smallest states. So, people would have to leave their state to experience different things. We would have to leave Illinois to experience different things. And so I would say, no, because, where I lived, we had a very big river. I kind of miss that. We have the smallest river. We live on the Gulino. It's, it's still something, but it's not quite the same. But it's fantastic for canoeing, right? But I mean, I used to row on these big rivers, and I don't know. I think I can't think of it as Denmark only, and I can't think of it as just Illinois only. I think of it as a huge USA, and I think of the huge Europe. So I think we have a lot of great variety, and there are a lot of natural places that we love. I mean, I talk about it here on my channel. I talk about it in my blog. I have so many places we've been to, and we love like 2 national park. We love that. It's just fantastic. So there are great places in Denmark too. Okay, and this one is, what do you miss most about the USA that is not friends and family? And for me, I think it would be familiarity, just knowing, having it would just be like knowing where all of your favorite places are, having a favorite place to go to get drinks, having a favorite restaurant, getting to go to baseball games, like all the things that you're used to and that you have such a love for. And it's like, if I need something, I know I can go into this store or in this store. We lived in a town with close to 200,000, and we lived very close to Chicago, which has 3 million. So, there's a lot of variety of things that we could do. And it was all very familiar to me. It's like, oh, if I want to do this, I know exactly where to go. And in Denmark, I still feel like I've never been really given a tour of this country, and not so much of all the great places, because if you've seen my blog, you would see I have a huge list of great places that we've been to as a family. But the thing is I feel like living here day to day, I never got that introduction of going to the grocery store. This is where you can find these things, or this is where you can go to get this. I mean, I was never really helped when I moved here. And I think that makes such a big difference, because I think so many people, when you come to another country, like, oh yeah, I feel like I know how to live here, as a tourist. But then when you have to go and find your deodorant, and then you have to go and find your, your face cream, and I'm like, I don't know where any of this stuff is. Or now that my boys are growing out of their clothes and I don't know where to shop for them because I've only ever bought clothes in the US. It's really been kind of difficult because I don't have anyone that says, let me show you how to find these things and let me help you figure out how to live here. I've been doing it on my own, and it's been a little difficult. So for me, that's what I miss. I miss all of my favorite places. Okay, and the last one is, are you happy in Denmark? And the truthful answer is, it depends on the day. For the most part, I love our house, I love our neighborhood, I love this small town, but I get lonely because I still don't have the family and friends that, that I've had for 38 years of living in the US, and how easy it was for me to make these connections with people. And it hasn't been easy here. Sometimes that really bothers me, But other times, I just focus on what I have and be grateful for what I have. And then I realize that it's pretty good. So thank you so much for all of your questions. If you have some that I have not answered, please put them in the comments below, and I would love to answer them for you. If you haven't already, don't forget to check out part 1 of this video. Thanks for coming along with this video, and I would love to see you on my blog and checking out some more information about us, and also checking out some more of my videos. Really would appreciate that, and also help me get to 15,000 by clicking on that red button. I hope to see you again, and as always, take care.